me a pleasure and a privilege to introduce to you the Honorable David Jones, who's our California Insurance Commissioner. David was first elected as Insurance Commissioner in November of 2010 and then re-elected in 2014. He leads California's Department of Insurance and regulates the California insurance market. Insurencers, these are all private insurance companies, collect $259 billion a year in premiums in California, making the nation's largest insurance market. Commissioner Jones served in the California State Assembly from 2014 through 2010, where he chaired the Assembly Health Committee, the Assembly Judiciary Committee, and the Budget Subcommittee on Health and Human Services. Named Consumer Champion by the California Consumers Federation, Capital Weekly named Commissioner Jones California's most effective legislator, other than the Assembly Speaker and the Senate Pro Tem. The American Psychiatric Association awarded Jones its prestigious Jacob K. Javits Public Service Award in 2015 for his work on mental health parity. In addition, Commissioner Jones received the Philip Burton Award for Courage from the Orange County Labor Federation in April of 2015. Commissioner Jones began his career as a legal aid attorney, providing free legal assistance to the poor with legal services of Northern California from 1988 to 1995. In 1995, Commissioner Jones was one of 13 Americans awarded the prestigious White House Fellowship. He served in the Clinton administration for 3 years as Special Assistant and Counsel to U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno. Commissioner Jones served the Sacramento City Council from 1999 to 2004. He graduated with honors from DePaul University, Harvard Law School, and Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government. He and his wife, Kim Flores, so he's married to one of ours, have two children, Isabel and William. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Jones.
Thank you very much. It's a great treat to be here with the Raza Roundtable. And I want to give a special thanks to Commissioner Sandoval, who's doing a fantastic job representing all of us on the Public Utilities Commission and making sure that the utilities and all of the other industries that she regulates are doing right by consumers and making sure that they're not gouging us as well. So how about a round of applause for Captain Sandoval? So it was really exciting to hear all of the great work that's happening here in San Jose and all of the leadership from the community, from appointed officials, from elected officials. You have a lot going on and a lot to be proud of. And I'm proud to be your insurance commissioner. California is somewhat unique. We elect our insurance commissioner in most states. The governor appoints it. In California, we decided we wanted an insurance commissioner who was directly accountable to you, the voters. So I love the Gov, I love Lieutenant Gov, I love the AG. They're all great people. But I don't report to them, I report to you. I'm an independent, autonomous, constitutional official, and I have regulatory authority over California's insurance industry. As was mentioned a moment ago, we're the largest insurance market in the United States. The companies collect $259 billion a year from us in premiums. Now, how many people here have auto insurance, just out of curiosity? All right. Now, don't tell me if you don't. How about homeowners insurance? Health insurance? All right. Any business owners in the house? Yeah, insurance for your business, right? The list goes on and on. It'd be hard to imagine how we could function as families, as individuals, as business owners, as nonprofit operators, you name it, without insurance. It's a big part of what allows us to deal with risk, potential loss, and have some peace of mind. But it's also a very powerful industry. And it's an industry where sometimes the power equation between the insurance companies and the business, and the insurance companies and the family, and the insurance companies and individual, is really skewed. So the job of the insurance commissioner is to try to level that playing field. I have 1,300 professionals who work for me to do that work. We regulate insurance rates for auto, homeowners, and all property and casualty insurance. So I'm very proud to say that since I was first elected in 2010, sworn in 2011, I've saved you $2.3 billion in premiums that you'd otherwise have to pay by just saying no, or reducing the amount of increase that was being sought. Now, sadly, I don't have that authority for health insurance. 35 other states have given their commissioners that authority, not California. I tried to get that authority with a ballot measure that unfortunately the health insurers spent $53 million against in 2014. So we didn't prevail there. But we also work hard on behalf of consumers when they have disputes with insurance companies. We get 170,000 calls a year to our hotline. I'm going to give you that hotline number right now. It's 1-800-927-4357. 1-800-927-4357. If you have a dispute with your insurance company, give us a call. We go to bat for consumers, and on top of the money we've saved on rates, during my administration, we've returned about $333 million to consumers that the insurance companies weren't going to pay, but for our intervention. Some of you might have seen the 60 Minutes story the other week about an investigation that I'm leading nationally that involves life insurance companies that have been sitting on billions of dollars, even though they know, because they have a database from the Social Security Administration, that life insurance policyholders have passed away and their beneficiaries should be paid. So as a result of that investigation and that enforcement effort, we've gotten over $2 billion in life insurance benefits paid from the top 23 companies in the United States, and we're working our way through till we get to all of them. So it's an office where you can do a lot of good. That's what I'm so excited about. It's a consumer protection agency, and it's a real privilege to serve in this office. It's also a law enforcement agency. I have 300 law enforcement personnel who work for me. We investigate insurance crimes, because sometimes people will defraud insurance companies, and that's not right. And so we investigate those crimes. We arrest people that engage in insurance fraud, and then we provide about $60 million a year to the district attorneys across the state to prosecute those crimes. And those crimes can be horrific. One case in particular, Long Beach, the CEO of a major hospital called Pacific Memorial Hospital, he got into his head that he was going to make a business out of doing spinal surgeries for injured workers. So he created a shell company that bought cut-rate spinal implant hardware, and he marked up the price of that spinal implant hardware to the hospital that he owned. And then he'd do all these spinal surgeries on legitimately injured workers who needed back surgeries because they were injured on the job. And he passed on the costs of the implants and the surgeries at a huge markup to the workers' compensation insurance. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60,000 markup. And it was outrageous. Now, he decided he's making so much money, he decided to make it into a volume business, and so he started bribing physicians to send him more patients. Well, that's a crime. It's a violation of state and federal law. So we opened an undercover investigation. We put people in the hospital. We put people in the doctor's offices. $500 million. $500 million in workers' compensation fraud. It's outrageous, because guess who pays for that? We do, in the form of higher premiums that employers have to pay, or we have to pay for goods and services because employers have to pay for higher premiums for workers' compensation insurance. So as a result of that case, we ended up successfully putting that investigation together. He was found guilty on 10 federal counts. He's going to do federal time. And we've seized every asset that he owns to help repay the money that he stole. So it's important stuff. We're hard at it. And I promised when you elected me that action would be my byword as your insurance commissioner. We would just talk, we would do things. I want to talk about one particular thing I'm really excited about that might be of interest to you that we have been working on. When I first got into the office in 2011, I asked my staff, these companies, they collect $259 billion a year. Can anybody in this insurance department tell me how much that money are they spending buying goods and services from minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, LGBT-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses? Nobody could tell me. It's like crickets. So then I asked, well, did the companies know? They couldn't tell me either. So I thought it was important that we know this, because as you know, not only in this community, but throughout California, a big part of our economy are women-owned businesses, Latino-owned businesses, African-American-owned businesses, Native American-owned businesses, the Asian Pacific Islander-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, LGBT-owned businesses. This is a big part of our economy. In fact, we have the largest number of women-owned businesses in America here. We have a huge percentage of our businesses that are Latino-owned. And we're a majority-minority state. So all that everyone wants is an equal opportunity to compete. They want a chance to compete fairly and to have a contract. So I began by surveying insurance companies in 2012 and asked them, do you have a supplier diversity policy? Do you have a supplier diversity program? What are you doing in terms of opening up contracting opportunities for goods and services you buy, insurance company, from others? And what percentage of those contracts are with diverse suppliers? What dollar volume? What number? Well, sadly, and we made the survey voluntary, we only got about 30% of the companies responding. And I thought that was terrible. And of those 30% that responded, only about a quarter of them were doing anything in terms of trying to make sure they were opening up the doors of economic opportunity to Latino, other minority-owned, women-owned businesses. Abysmal. So the next year I made the survey mandatory. And I've been surveying them ever since. And we are surveying the top 200 insurance companies, representing roughly 70% of the overall market. And we ask them these questions. And then we publish the results on our website. So you can go to insurance.ca.gov, which is the website for the California Department of Insurance, and you can put in the name of the insurance company and find out to what extent are they buying goods and services from minority, women, LGBT, and veteran-owned businesses. How many contracts, what dollar volume contracts, and what progress have they been making over time. And I think that's important because they are making a lot of money from the community, and we want them to be spending that money in the community. So, since we've been doing this, we've seen some real progress. In 2013, only 25% of the insurers actually provide us with detailed procurement information. By 2015, we had 100% compliance in terms of the information, and we saw them increasing the degree to which they are adopting these programs. In fact, in our 2015 survey, we found that approximately $2.8 billion was being spent with diverse suppliers in California over a 2-year period. And of this amount, minority-owned businesses received approximately $1.3 billion. And of this amount, $257 million was going to Latino-owned businesses. So that's progress. There's more room for growth, which is why we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep shining a spotlight on this question. We also ask them, who does one contact? If I'm a minority-owned business owner, who do I call to find out about contracting opportunities? Tell us the name of the person, how to get a hold of them. And we put that information right there on our website so minority-owned businesses can find out as well. Now, there's a strong business case for this too. The insurance companies are doing a good job understand the benefit of this. They want to sell into every community in California, and they want to have business relationships in those communities too. And we've had CEOs of companies say, hey, look, this is a great thing for my company to be doing this work, to be buying goods and services from diverse suppliers. And if others aren't going to do this, I'm going to be the one to do it. And we're bringing these company executives together to model that good behavior with others. Now, probably no surprise, there's a strong correlation, dare I say even causal relationship, between those companies that are doing good work on supplier diversity and those that have diversity in their governance. So I've also been surveying the company with regard to the diversity of their governing boards. We're asking the top 200 companies, collectively they have about 1,500 corporate board members. Tell us, what number of your board members are Latino, Native American, African American, Asian Pacific Islander? What number are women? What number of LGBT? What number are veterans? And there the news is pretty sad. Over 80% of the boards of directors of the major insurance companies that are in California are Anglo and male. In fact, only 3% of the board directors, of the members of the board of directors of these top 200 companies are Latino. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. And we are publishing these results so that community-based organizations like La Raza and each of La Raza's member organizations can go to our website and see this and decide, do you want to do business with that insurance company? If that insurance company isn't supporting your community, then maybe you want to think twice about buying goods and services from them. If they are not reaching out in terms of their board members to make sure it's more reflective of California, then maybe you ought to think twice about doing business with them too. So all that information is available for you to use, and we've had great success with organizations like Greenlining, which you're probably familiar with, which is a strong advocacy organization. They take our results and they do report cards to the insurance companies as well. You could use that information also to help you decide where you want to be buying insurance and to also acknowledge those companies that are doing good work. Kaiser has a $1 billion diverse spend goal that Bernard Tyson, its CEO, established when he was the CFO. So we've acknowledged that. I've given him an award for his leadership, and we are highlighting that so that other insurance company executives see that and hopefully follow it as well. So I'm really excited about this insurance diversity initiative. It's important because I think that there's a real tremendous opportunity here to help businesses have an opportunity to compete, and that's what it's all about. Now, Catherine Sandoval leads a very important effort at the Public Utility Commission, where with utilities, her commission is doing the same thing, requiring the utilities to come forward and tell the commissioners to what extent are they buying goods and services also. These are the only two regulated industries in America where this is occurring. Under our PUC, under Catherine's leadership, and at the Department of Insurance under my leadership. But it's a model potentially for other state agencies in this state and potentially in other states to follow as well, to make sure other industry segments are doing right by diversity. Now, a couple of quick other issues. Do we have any folks here who know what AB 60 is? AB 60, right? That's the really important legislation that passed the other year that finally, after many, many years, decades of struggle, provided the opportunity for persons without complete documentation to get a driver's license. And I have fully supported that from my time in the State Assembly to my time as Insurance Commissioner. It's the right thing to do, and in a very exciting way, in the last year and a half or so, these licenses have been made available to people who are every bit a part of our community, every bit a part of La Raza, every bit a part of San Jose, and deserve the right to have the same driver's license and the ability to drive legally as anybody else. Now, absolutely, it's worthy of applause. Worthy of applause. So, of course, driving, insurance, you got to think about that too. So, we have something called the California Low-Cost Auto Insurance Program that I administer as the Insurance Commissioner. And it's insurance that's at a lower cost for people that are of lesser means, so that they can meet the state obligation to get insurance. And I'd encourage you, if you want to learn about that, go to our website, because there are probably community members that are looking for lesser expensive insurance who would qualify based on their income eligibility for this program. But it occurred to me, we got to make sure that the AB 60 licensees can have access to that program too. And as it turns out, that program required 3 years of good driving experience before you could access the program. Well, if you've never had a license before, if you're an AB 60 licensee, how are you going to prove you had 3 years good driving experience, right? Good luck. So I sponsored legislation that was carried by State Senator Ricardo Lara to change the rules of the low-cost auto insurance program, to get rid of that 3-year requirement. So the AB 60 licensees could also have access to the California low-cost auto insurance program that I administer. We did exactly that. We got that bill to the governor's desk. He signed it. And now AB 60 licensees have access to that as well. So I'm a big believer in making sure that people are treated fairly and equally, and all these programs are available to all Californians. Now, another program I want to touch on really quick is a program that we administer at the Department of Insurance to look at the degree to which insurance companies are actually investing money, not just buying goods and services, but investing in low and moderate income communities. And we have a bill, Assembly Bill 2728, carried by Assemblywoman Atkins, that would extend that program for another 5 years. It's a critically important program. It's a way for us to hold insurance companies accountable, not only as I'm doing on the buying of goods and services side, but also when they collect money from us and they put it in investments so that they have money later on to pay claims. Are they investing in things like affordable housing, daycare centers, new schools? And so we monitor that as well through this program. It's called the California Organized Investment Network, or COIN, C-O-I-N. The bill is Assembly Bill 2728. I would ask for your support for that legislation. We'd love to have letters of support from each and every organization here for Assembly Bill 2728, so we keep doing that. Healthcare mergers. How many people have heard about these healthcare mergers, right? Anthem's buying Cigna, Aetna's buying Humana, everybody's buying everybody. Well, I thought it was important that the public have a chance to be heard about those, so I've had 2 major hearings on these and invited public comments, because these are big, big companies that want to get even bigger. And the question that I have is bigger actually better for California consumers? So I'll be making a decision on both those and making a recommendation to the Federal Department of Justice about whether those should be approved or not. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to our website as well. If you want to send me a comment, you can send me a comment to mergercomments@insurance.ca.gov. Now, I'm sure everyone here also is following the effort to make sure that those that don't have complete documentation have access to health care. And I'm a big believer in that as well, including the expansion of Medi-Cal to children that are not fully documented, but also expanding availability of our exchange-covered California or our Medi-Cal program to adults that are not completely documented as well. I fully support the efforts of Senator Kevin De Leon and Senator Ricardo Lara in this regard, because I think health care should be a right, not a privilege. And if you're in California, you should have access to these programs. So that's a quick run through the world of insurance, right? We can stop talking about insurance now. You can roll your eyes back to the front of your head. Sometimes hard to make it interesting, you know? But it's interesting to me because when you think about it, it touches on everything we do. It has an impact on all of us. And it's really about making sure that we're being treated fairly in various ways. And so that's my job. I love it. I love doing it. And I want to thank you for giving me the chance to do it as your insurance commissioner. Thank you very, very much.
I just have a question for
Yes.
the insurance commissioner.
Yes.
I'm a retired Catholic priest, retired attorney, businessman. I pursue a lot of issues. We just had a serious fire that burned 500 structures or homes in Calaveras County. One of them was mine. What role are you playing with attorneys or with insurance companies to see that the people there, especially those that are not insured, receive some compensation? There's a lot of lawsuits against PG&E. We know it's a target. I'm one of them. But what role are you playing, if any, in those areas?
So we've had the third and fifth worst fires in California's history last year. The Lake County fire and the Calaveras County fire. And $1 billion in insured losses. 5 individuals killed outright. Terrible, terrible destruction. After the fires were contained, I went personally to both fire sites. And I went there to make sure that my people were deployed there. And we deployed consumer service representatives to the fire site, to the emergency centers and the help centers and the town halls, to help consumers with any kind of issue they might have in terms of filing a claim against an insurance company. So I made sure my people were there, and they were, and also made sure that the insurance companies were there in full force. Because what I wanted to make sure was that they were immediately paying claims out to people to help them with immediate living expenses, and that as well they were helping to process claims. I also went to the insurance companies and asked them to go beyond what the state law provides in terms of accelerating these things and adopt some additional sets of claims handling procedures that we created to try to expedite things, and they agreed to do it. So the good news is that we have had very few complaints from policyholders about how they're being treated. Where we have had complaints, we've gone to bat for the consumer and gotten them resolved. And we're continuing to monitor it very, very closely. Now, unfortunately, there are some number of people that had no insurance. And so in that circumstance, there isn't any private commercial insurance available. FEMA has the ability to provide a little bit of money for folks in that circumstance, but it is critically important that people get insurance because there is not some large pot of federal money that kind of flows down like manna from heaven after these disasters. It just doesn't happen. Now, there is a program called the FAIR Plan, F-A-I-R, and it is the fire insurance of last resort. So if you're in a high-risk fire area, like Calaveras and Lake County, and you're having a hard time finding standard insurance, which is increasingly the case because as the risk gets greater, as we are confronted with climate change and longer periods of drought and higher risks of fire and more ferocious fires and fires that are more unpredictable. This is all that's happening. We used to have a fire season in California, no more. The whole year is a fire season now, basically. As a result, what's happening is insurers are saying, I can't handle that risk. So decades ago, the legislature created an insurer of last resort. It's a quasi-public entity called the FAIR Plan. No profit involved in it, very thin administrative costs, and it issues fire insurance for people that can't otherwise find it. And we're working with them to make sure they're aggressively letting people know about their availability. So great question.
Yeah, Frank Espinosa, I'm a faculty member at Evergreen Valley College. Now that health insurance is the law, I'm wondering how young Latinos in California, ages 18 to 30-ish, are faring as far as honoring the fact that it is the law and are receiving some kind of health care or utilizing California.
The numbers have gotten better in terms of the distribution of the policies sold through Covered California as it relates to Latinos, but there's still a significant gap between Latinos' representation in the overall population and Latinos' representation in Covered California policies. So Covered California has sought to address this in the most recent enrollment period by doing more outreach through community-based organizations, through TV, radio, print, including extensive outreach using Spanish language publications and other languages as well to try to make sure all communities are brought in. It continues to be a struggle. So I think there's more progress to be made there. I think that one of the positive things also associated with the Affordable Care Act, though, is the expansion of Medi-Cal, which significantly helps poorer Latinos. So we have expanded Medi-Cal by 3 million people in California. A sizable portion of that is the Latino community. Now we've got to move to the issue of those that don't have complete documentation. So the legislature and governor moved in a very positive direction thanks to the leadership of Senator Lara and Senator Kevin De Leon to create some funding for kids to get Medi-Cal that aren't completely documented. We need to expand that, and we need to support Senator Lara's legislation to open up Covered California to adults who are not completely documented as well. So I support all those things, and I think the sooner we get about it, the better that we'll have healthier communities and we'll truly make access to insurance more a right than a privilege. Great question. You've been a wonderful audience. Who thought you were going to have to come out at Friday night and talk about insurance, right? My gosh. So you've been very patient. But again, most of all, thank you for giving me the chance to serve you in this way. I really, really feel privileged to do so. And thank you for your extraordinary leadership in the communities you serve. You've inspired me. You're just having a chance to sit here and hear all the things that are going on in this community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Volando con